Hi everyone, welcome back to CSE 373. This week we are going to be talking about binary trees. So that might be a term that you remember from CSE 143. We'll start today by reviewing some of those concepts and then start diving into some more advanced applications of how to make these trees work well in practice in a various different ways. Before I introduce kind of this tree stuff, and I also want to spend a little bit of time reviewing hashing, in this video I'm actually only going to talk about some announcements. Just because I want to make sure this gets out as early as possible. So your current assignments that are out right now, we have Project 2, that's due in a little less than 2 weeks from, assuming you're watching this on Monday. Please check the calendar to make sure you know when that due date is. This project is implementing a hash table that we talked about on Friday. And this is a really fun project, but do remember, we give you 2 weeks for a reason, because this project is a little bit more challenging than the last one. So please make sure, even though there's no due date for the project this week, please make sure you're at least starting it and trying to make some progress, because you do not want to wait until the last minute to work on this. We also have Exercise 2 out. Exercise 2 is similar to Exercise 1. It's about algorithmic analysis. And we're going to be focusing more on the recurrences, tree method, and master theorem in that exercise. And that's due this upcoming Friday. We also posted the Exam 1 logistics on the website. I'll talk about that in just 1 second. We also, like that for the other project, Project 0, we have a survey that you can fill out. And the survey has some questions about how the project went, and it also has some questions about how section's going. And so that's going to be due on Friday. It's worth a small amount of extra credit. Remember, extra credit in this class is not like actually worth points. It's all about when we're doing final grades, if you're close, we might bump you up if you've been doing extra credit and participating in the course, but it's not going to be a seriously make or break your grade. So, but do please take a second to fill that out. If you have some time, we do really read through those and we appreciate the time you put into them. So I want to talk a little bit about Exam 1 because it's an online quarter. Exams are going to look different than what you might be used to in kind of an in-person quarter. So I want to make sure we understood the logistics and the intent here. So I am not trying to replicate a normal exam with this. This is like an exam in name only. The reason I want us to have this opportunity to take time doing this is actually the students from the summer reported that they really liked having an exam, which is weird because I've been teaching for a while and I've never heard a student say, wow, I love exams. The reason they loved this exam is they loved the format and they loved the opportunity it provided to study. So this is not supposed to be a time pressure, like I am super testing you on, in a time crunched manner, what you know so far. This is supposed to be designed to be a collaborative process, and it's supposed to be designed to be a good check-in. You know, after this week, we're going to be 4 weeks into the quarter, and we really want to, take stock of what we learned so far and give you a chance to test yourself. So let me talk a little bit about how this exam is designed and why we think that it's going to be a process that you actually will like taking and that you'll hopefully learn a lot from. So exam logistics. You will have 48 hours to complete the exam. There's no time limit once you start. There's no timer. We're going to release the exam 8:30 in the morning on Monday, October 26th. And then it's due 48 hours later at 8:30 a.m. On Wednesday, October 28th. We are not going to allow late submissions. The reason is this exam is not designed to be a 48-hour exam. It's really designed to be a 1 or maybe 2-hour exam, but we're giving you lots of time to complete it at your own pace to provide you maximum flexibility. Additionally, because it's online, we know that it's not going to be like a regular exam format. So we're going to allow you to have open notes, so you can use any notes from your course, including your exercises or anything like that. And we're also going to call it's open friends. What we mean by this is that you're allowed to work on this exam in groups. So you can work with a group and submit as one in groups of up to 6 people. We chose 6 because that's the size of the class session group. So that's one of the reasons we've been encouraging you to sign up for class session groups, come to meet people, so you have an opportunity to have this community in class. If you don't need a group of 6 people. You could do it alone. You could do it in pairs. It's designed to be kind of a solo person exam, but I would recommend, working with someone else and submitting together because students reported from the summer really learning a lot from that experience. And they really felt like they loved the opportunity to talk with people about the problem, and they learned a lot from their peers. So we do really encourage this group, having a group for this. We will be sending a form, kind of like the project partner pool, where we will put you in small groups. But we really do encourage you to kind of, when you're coming to class, kind of meeting people, maybe having one other person that you want to take the exam with, but you don't have to take it with 6. You can also take it alone if you choose. It's designed to be a solo person exam. Now, in terms of content, what are we going to be testing you on? It's going to be covering everything up through this Wednesday's lecture. So we're going to be talking about trees and AVL trees in particular. That will make more sense on Wednesday. So it's not Friday and afterwards, not on exam 1. So that means the things you want to focus on. I have this little picture on the top right. You want to focus on things from lecture 1 to lecture 10. Also from section 1 to section 4. Section 4. Exercises 1 and 2 are also going to be really great resources, and project 0 to project 2, and I put a little asterisk on the 2. We don't expect it's not required that you finish the project before the exam in order to do well on it. I think it helps to have some idea of how to implement that hash table so you better understand the mechanics of the hash table, but it is not a requirement that we're not going to be testing you on the project 2 details because it's project 2's due after the exam. So that's why I put a little asterisk there on project 2. For the most part, these questions, the questions on the exam are going to be more conceptual in nature. So they're going to be a little bit more similar to the exercises than writing a full Java program like you would on the project. Be prepared to explain why things are true and to defend your reasoning. So we're usually going to be asking you questions where you have to give an answer and justify it. And so both those components are important. So recommendations for how to study for this. We do, even though it is OpenNote and OpenFriend, we do recommend that you spend a little bit of time studying, mostly so that you can form a mental map. Remember, we talked about at the beginning of the quarter this idea of metacognition. One of the things that is really effective in a metacognitive process is coming up with a mental model or a mental map of kind of how topics relate to one another. That's usually one of the key differentiators between expert level of knowledge in something and novice level knowledge of something, is that mental model of how things relate to each other. And that's usually why hard problems are easy for experts, but really difficult for novices. So definitely take some time to kind of review what we've covered so far, understand how things relate. Maybe, I think personally, a really helpful thing is to try to come up with a cheat sheet. Not because you're limited to a cheat sheet, but that process of trying to compress kind of what we've seen so far into 1 or 2 pages or a few pages, that process is the most helpful thing. And it can be a good reference if you want to look up something quick. A great place to look at kind of, for each lecture, what am I expected to know, are those learning objectives. So each lecture has a set of learning objectives that describe a skill that we'd be interested in you being able to do after kind of mastering that concept. So to make this easier, on our course website, which you can, let me double check, you can see, yes, you can see this. Sorry, I want to make sure OBS was recording the right thing. We have an exams page where we've posted all of these logistic details. So please make sure that you read through this. I've covered pretty much most of the things here, but it's really important because exams on this online setting are a different structure, that you really understand the policies here. We have review materials, including past exams. The 20 summer exams and practice exam are going to be the best resource because this format is very similar to the format they used. We also include some past resources from 20 winter. They're actually a bit off in terms of structure and in terms of content, so it's not the best resource available, but we did want to provide some extra things. So don't stress too much about the 20 winter stuff because it's just going to be very different. The stuff from 20 summer is our best friend. So in terms of kind of what we're talking about on the topics, the exam will cover everything up through lecture 10. So here's kind of a short list of all the topics we've covered in the course so far. And I've already gone through all the work of going through all the lecture slides and grabbing the learning objectives for each day. So you could use this and make sure, like, okay, it's okay if you don't understand these binary search tree and AVL trees things yet, because that's this week, today and Wednesday. But definitely looking back and making sure that you can distinguish between asymptotic analysis and case analysis and applying both to code snippets. That might be a type of question we'll ask on the exam. So the exam, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn a lot from the process of studying for it and trying to solve those problems. And if you have any questions, we could definitely answer any if you post on the message board. Okay, so that's all I have for announcements. The remaining videos will talk about content for today, about trees.